What's happening? A good Friday to all of you. Thanks for joining me as always. It is very much appreciated. We've got your Dolphins, Patriots preview for this coming Sunday, week 5 of the NFL season. And this is a winnable game, folks. This is a winnable game for the Patriots, but it is not a gimme. A few bigger picture notes before we jump into offense, defense. Caden Wallace, he is going on the IR. That was announced by Jerod Mayo earlier today. He was seen on a scooter in the locker room. That's not great. So when you look at Caden Wallace going on the IR, I think it is time for the Patriots to go out and see if they can get another veteran offensive tackle who's available. I know they tried out Jesse Davis earlier this week. Another veteran guy to put on the practice squad at least is needed. They need somebody else. They need another body. So hopefully Elliott Wolf and Mayo get that done. If Wolf does not bring a veteran offensive tackle onto this roster, practice squad or otherwise, by early next week, I think it's a mistake. You need more depth. And I know you're not going to go out there and get anybody that's great, but you need some depth. So maybe they do bring Davis back and maybe he signs to the practice squad. The thing about the Patriots, the question that I think many of us have, does this team come out in the right frame of mind on Sunday? Jalen Polk stuff, Pop Douglas stuff, Devon Godshaw, Jabril Peppers coming out and saying what they said publicly. Obviously, Evan Lazar, friend of the program, came out and he said that the locker room was teetering towards a mutiny. He has since stepped back from that comment. I don't know what caused him to step back. Was it his own accord, somebody else? But Evan came out and said that he got a little bit ahead of himself. Karen Garigian just released a story at Mass Live. I thought it was a great story. Karen does awesome work, and she spoke with players on and off the record, and they said there's no mutiny. Mayo has not lost the locker room. But do these guys come out on Sunday in the right frame of mind? Do they approach this the right way? Do they attack? Does the coaching staff attack? You know, the last 2 weeks have been ugly. You're going through a bunch of injuries. Duggar's going to be out. Bentley is done for the year. Andrews is done for the year. We're talking about leaders of this team. Can they pull it together and give a great effort on Sunday? That's one of the biggest questions. The other big question for the Patriots is who's back? Vidarian Lowe, he sounds like he's pretty positive and confident that he's going to be back this week. That's good news. Kendrick Bourne, does he play? And if he does play, how much does he play? Marte Mapu, Sion Taki, those two defensive players, will they be back? And if they do come back, how much will they play? Meanwhile, the other team, they got to figure stuff out. As much as we wonder how the Patriots will respond, you've got to ask the question, how will Miami respond? Ugly Monday Night Football game coming off a short week. They just lost one of their best defensive players in Jalen Phillips. He's done for the year. Tyreek Hill was on the sidelines looking frustrated and irritated. They've played 3 different quarterbacks in the first 4 games because of Tua's concussion and Tua going on IR. So both of these teams right now, they are in rocky situations. They're both 1-3 trying to figure it out. Can they salvage a win? Both teams are desperate for the win. Let's start with the Patriots defense. Pat's defense against Miami's offense. Now, Miami could get Odell Beckham Jr. back this weekend. They could get Raheem Mostert back this weekend. That would change some things, especially OBJ. I don't think OBJ will go out there and play 45, 50 snaps. But the fact that OBJ has a chance to play this weekend, we've got to keep an eye on that because you've got Waddle, you've got Hill, you've got Beckham Jr. 3 guys that can do some major, major damage. And it's easier to defend this team. It's not easy, but it's easier to defend this team if it's just Waddle and Tyreek Hill that you're really concerned about. You throw OBJ in the mix, now you got to worry about that element. What I want to see from the Patriots this weekend, we talked about it earlier in the week. I want to see the Patriots play more man coverage on Sunday. Play more man coverage. Lean in on your strength. Your strength is Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones. Those guys have played pretty well on balance. Yes, they've given up a play or two here and there, but your strength with this defense right now is the cornerbacks, especially Gonzalez. Play man coverage. Miami loves to get rid of the football fast. That's what Mike McDaniel does. The Patriots, they've got to be ready for that. I think you jam them at the line, be a little physical. The Dolphins' second fastest time to throw in the NFL. It takes them only 2.46 seconds to get rid of the football. I don't think your pass rush is going to get there in 2.46 seconds. Your pass rush, especially four-man pass rush, has not been good enough. So lean into man coverage more. I would play Christian Gonzalez against Jalen Waddle, one-on-one, travel with Waddle, and I would double Tyreek Hill. I double Hill, and I would put Gonzalez on Waddle. That's how I would defend this football team. I'd get 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage because your four-man rush is not doing good enough. The Miami offensive line has some questions. They're not very good. So I would like to put that extra guy up front, go with 5 at the line of scrimmage more than you have. If you watched the game on Monday night, I'm sure not many of you did, or you turned it off because it was awful. Tennessee-Miami was a terrible football game. I watched it. I watched it live. I watched it again this week so I can do this show. And Sweat from Tennessee, their rookie, believe he played at Texas. He dominated the interior offensive line of Miami. So I want to see 5 guys at the line of scrimmage more than we've seen it. And I want them to play man coverage more against these wide receivers. And I know it's dicey. It's a dangerous game to play. But I'm going with man more than I've gone with man. You know, you're playing like 70% zone. I would cut that down. Number two, own first and second down. It is going to be vital for the Patriots to play disciplined on first and second down. Miami's run game has been terrible. When you think about Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, those offenses are based off the run. And Miami's run game has been putrid. You need to stay disciplined against the run game on first and second down. You need to force the Dolphins to be looking at third and medium or third and long all day long. First and second down. You look at Miami. Miami is 24th in rushing yards per game, 28th in yards per carry. They have the worst stuff rate in the entire NFL, the second worst rush EPA. They have the worst rushing yards over expected at minus 118. These backs have actually gotten 118 yards less than what they should have gotten. I mean, you look at every number. And here's the thing. The Dolphins' run game has been bad, and they're actually facing the second least amount of stacked boxes. So their run game is getting crushed. Their run game is getting stuffed. Their offensive line is getting manhandled in the run game, and defenses are not even throwing extra guys in the box. They're not even worried about that. They are stopping Miami's run without extra people devoted inside the box. That screams a lot about what's going on with Miami's run game. Miami loves to run outside the tackles. 6th highest rate of outside the tackle runs from the Dolphins in the NFL. They run a lot of tosses. They run a lot of jet sweeps. They'll run a couple of jet sweeps to Tyreek Hill. So what have we talked about? The Patriots being disciplined on the edge. They have to contain the edge in this game. They have to contain the edge better than they did last week against San Francisco, especially early. And they have to do a much better job at containing the edge than they did against the Jets. Mike McDaniel is going to try to attack the edges of this defense. The good news, Anthony Jennings looks like he's going to be back. Jennings has been very good against the run. He's been very good at setting the edge. Keon White has to play disciplined football this weekend. Because McDaniel, he will run those tosses. He will run those jet sweeps. And he will test the edge of the Patriots defense. Speaking of discipline, and by the way, Miami is 25th in the NFL on third down. So shut their run game down, force them in a third and medium, third and long, and Miami won't score a lot of points unless they hit you with a couple of big plays over the top. First and second down, pivotal. Speaking of discipline, though, the Patriots have to be disciplined against Huntley. Huntley's not a very good quarterback, but you've got to play disciplined against him. You look at what was going on Monday night. He was inaccurate deep all night long. He underthrew Tyreek Hill in the end zone, almost threw a pick. I don't know if he was trying to go back shoulder, left sideline to Hill at some point in that game, deep down the sideline, but he threw it behind Hill and he threw it out of bounds. He had Tyreek Hill wide open. Hill had 2 or 3 steps on the defensive backs on one play, and he overshot Hill by like 3 yards. Very inaccurate throwing deep is what Huntley looked like on Monday. And I don't think it's a coincidence that if you watch that game against the Titans, 95% of Miami's offense was short stuff. Just tons of short stuff. Quick passing game. Not trying to test intermediate or deep very often. And I think it's because they don't believe Huntley can consistently hit those kinds of passes. Now, I do want to warn everybody. Huntley pretty much just went to Miami before that game on Monday night. So they might open up the offense a little bit more on Sunday. They might give Huntley a little bit more responsibility. They might trust him a little bit more. The one thing, and this goes right back to what we talked about with discipline, it goes right back to containing the edge. The Patriots have to make sure they don't let Huntley run. Huntley will run. McDaniel will call shotgun quarterback draws. Huntley will scramble when he gets the opportunity. You've got to be disciplined with your pass rush. You can't get too deep into the backfield. He's going to run right by you. You can't go inside. You've got to stay outside if you're Keon White, if you're Jennings, if you're Uche. You've got to keep Huntley in the pocket because he will jet outside the pocket in a split second. And you can't give up big plays via Huntley's legs. That would be a recipe for disaster. You're looking at 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and you got the play fired up, dialed up. You feel good about it. And then you let Huntley run because you mess up the contain again, and he goes for 15 yards, drive continues, it leads to a touchdown or it leads to a field goal. You can't have that happen. Disciplined play on the edges. Keep Huntley in the pocket. Play man coverage. Make him uncomfortable. The 4-man rush, I don't have a lot of confidence that the Patriots' 4-man pass rush is going to get home because we have not seen it get home consistently. But what I will say is, I think the Patriots can play some games up front every once in a while. And what I mean by that is you go back to Cincinnati, you go back to Seattle, and they like to run sim pressure, right? Simulated pressure. Lou Anarumo from Cincinnati loves running simulated pressures. They're not blitzes. They put guys up at the line, and then you have to figure out who's dropping back and who's coming after you. And on two occasions, Monday Night Football, Tennessee ran simulated pressure on the right side of the offensive line for Miami, and Miami could not handle it. The second time resulted in a safety late in the fourth quarter. So I think every once in a while, you're not going to do it a ton, but I do think every once in a while Covington can run some simulated pressure, especially on the right side of that offensive line, and I think that could cause problems for Miami. But you've got to call those simulated pressures at the right time. But I think the Dolphins are susceptible to that every once in a while. Who's playing left tackle for the Dolphins? Big question. Teron Armstead in the concussion protocol. He's been back at practice. He was limited on Wednesday. Sounds like he's trending towards playing. That would be a big help for Miami's offensive line because Patrick Paul, who we've talked about, right? A lot of people upset that the Patriots didn't draft an offensive tackle in the second round. Patrick Paul was the first tackle off the board in the second round. He went to Miami. I believe it was at pick 55. Patrick Paul on Monday night was awful. He stunk out loud. That was his first start of the year. He started for Armstead at left tackle, and he was bad. So if they get Armstead back, that will help the Dolphins. Get ready for motion. Mike McDaniel loves his motion. Get ready for some orbit motions. Get ready for motion at the snap. Miami has had some issues, however, with legally deploying the motion. 5 illegal shift penalties on Miami Monday night against Tennessee. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so Mike McDaniel, they changed that rule. The cheat motion, they changed that rule before the season, made it tougher for offenses to have guys running downfield pretty much at the snap of the football. And there's been some struggle in Miami dealing with that, dealing with the changes in the rules. So I will not be surprised if you see Miami get popped for at least one, if not a couple of illegal shift calls on Sunday. Miami, a lot of swing passes on Monday night. So get ready for some swing passes to the running backs, swing passes to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill will do a jet sweep motion. A lot of times they'll fake that handoff, and then they'll throw the swing pass to Tyreek with a running start. Again, Patriots have to be ready for it. They've got to be disciplined. They've got to trust their eyes. Don't get screwed up. Miami will throw a ton of horizontal passes on Sunday. They will continue to test the cornerbacks, the safeties, the defensive ends. They will continue to test those guys and see if they can come downhill and make tackles in the open field, to see if they will set that edge. Number of times you'll see the running backs as well. They'll be split out wide, and you'll see some bubble screen action, but to the running back instead of the wide receiver. So that's what Miami ran against Tennessee. All right, I got some thoughts about the Patriots offense coming up against the Dolphins defense. Don't forget, though, first time talking about this today, podcasts, YouTube, all about engagement. So as you watch this podcast, don't forget to do me a favor. Takes you a second, doesn't cost you any money, but click that thumbs up. Because when you hit that thumbs up and you like this channel and you like this podcast video, YouTube sends the video out to more people. Engagement. So don't forget to like the podcast as you watch. Also throw a comment in. What do you think about the Patriots defense against this Miami offense this weekend? Do you want Christian Gonzalez to go man to man on Jalen Waddle? Do you think the Patriots can get anything done defensively after the last couple of weeks? Throw your comments in. The likes and the comments, that's what gets the eyeballs. Also, if you like what we do here, as I always say, don't forget to subscribe. Trying to get to 4,500 subscribers. We're about 150 away from that number. So like, comment, subscribe. My Spotify, Apple Pods people, you know the deal. Rate and review. All right, I'll get to Patriots offense in a minute. First, Vitalix with a $10 super chat. Thank you for the $10, Vitalix. I'm going to try to make it through the entire game and hopefully have some positives to take from it. Have a good weekend, Nick. I think many of us are feeling this way, right? Can we just get through a game with some positives? Can we feel decent about what the Patriots do on Sunday? It's a legitimate question after the last couple of weeks. Last couple of weeks have been brutal. Again, thanks, Vitalix, for the 10. Very much appreciated. Patriots offense versus Miami's defense. Here we go. Who's playing on the offensive line? Are you playing on the offensive line? Am I playing on the offensive line? Who in the blue hell is going to line up and start this game up front for the Patriots? David Andrews, we know, he's out. It does sound like Vidarian Lowe and Michael Jordan will be back for this game on Sunday. That's good news. Vidarian Lowe, I'm not telling you he's great, not even telling you he's good, but he was supposed to be the starting left tackle for this football team. So at least you get the guy back who is supposed to start for you at left tackle. We'll see how he plays. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan, he's actually been, under the radar. He's done a really solid job on the O-line. He hasn't been great, but he's been one of your better offensive linemen. He's been damn solid. So to get Jordan back, that's actually good news. So you could have Lowe and Jordan back on the offensive line on Sunday, which would be very good news for Alex Van Pelt and company. However, Mark Daniels posted today that City So looked very limited. Not great. Layden Robinson is banged up. So could we see Mike Owenu shift back to guard? I mean, it is, Jerod Mayo said it, and he's right. It's musical chairs up front right now. Nick Leverett will be your center, I would think. So I think you'll see Vidarian Lowe at left tackle. You will see Leverett at center. Michael Jordan will play one of the guard spots. The question is, do you swing Owenu to right guard and play DeMontre Jacobs at right tackle? Do you keep Owenu at right tackle and try to rotate City So and Layden Robinson, two guys who were banged up? So Leverrett's not 100%. Lowe's not 100%. So the offensive line's a mess. And, one of the biggest issues, I think, for this game for the Patriots offense is the interior of that offensive line. Because there are two guys on this Dolphins defense on that D-line that can cause you some problems. Calais Campbell is playing very well. And then you've got Sealer. So you've got Sealer and you've got Campbell. Two defensive tackles who have had good seasons. And they are going to test the interior of your offensive line. And that could be an issue. Both Campbell and Sealer are top 20 in the NFL for defensive tackles and pass rush win rate. So they pressure up the middle. Those two guys pressure up the middle. Nick Leverett has to hold the water. Whoever's playing guard, Michael Jordan will have one spot. Whoever's playing the other spot, those three guys have to keep Campbell from ruining this game at times. Campbell and Sealer. Now, I want to note that Campbell, he plays about half the snaps. He's played 54% of the snaps for the Dolphins this year. So he's half on, half off pretty much. He did play a season high in snaps on Monday night, and you wonder how that could impact him because now it's a short week, right? He's older. He's playing about 54% of the snaps. He played a season high 36 snaps on Monday night. Short week to recover. How many snaps does Campbell play on Sunday? We'll have to see. I also think the Patriots, because they like to rotate those guys, going hurry up, going no huddle a little bit, probably would work out for you. When Campbell's on the sidelines, go with a fast pace. Try not to allow Campbell to get back on the field. Keep him off the field as much as you can. At least that's what I would do. Of course, I'm not Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt is not me. I'll get back to the Patriots offense in a minute, but a $50 super chat from Teresa, our friend Terry, down in South Carolina, asking for Mr. Snoopy, since my questions are never good. I wouldn't say that. Is the reason they are not signing a tackle because they don't want to bump someone off the active roster? I don't think so, because they could slide Demontre Jacobs right back to the practice squad. I don't think people would, I don't think many teams would be interested in Jacobs. So, you might have a couple, but I think you could get Jacobs right back onto the practice squad. So I don't think it's the active roster. I honestly think Elliott Wolf is looking. And number one, how many of those guys are going to sign up to play for the Patriots, right? Like we've talked about some of these guys, the DJ Humphreys, the Donovan Smiths, the David Bakhtiaris. How many of those guys are looking at this team 1-3, absolute bleep show of an offensive line so far, quarterback situation dicey with Brissett, especially last week. How many of those veterans are going to jump off their couch? I mean, these guys are in their 30s. They've had surgeries. They're all banged up. How many of those guys are going to, jump up off their couch to go play for a 1-3 team? I'd have to imagine if the Patriots got off to a better start. If they're 3-1, you might have a better shot. So I think that has more to do with it. It doesn't excuse not signing somebody, though. Again, Jesse Davis was in town this week. He's played some tackle in the NFL. He's played some guard. He's an experienced guy. I would like to see another experienced offensive lineman, specifically somebody who has tackle experience. I'd like to see them at least be put on the practice squad. They need another body. Caden Wallace is, rolling around in a scooter in the locker room today. They're going to need another body. So thank you, Terry, for the 50. Means an awful lot. I appreciate you. All right, back to the Patriots offense. Does Miami alter what they usually do? The Dolphins are 22nd in the NFL in blitz rate. We had this conversation with the Jets, right? The Jets did not blitz a lot until Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. Then the Jets blitzed because the Jets saw the offensive line and said, we can take advantage of that. Same damn thing happened last week with San Francisco. The Niners don't blitz a lot, but they saw what the Jets did. They see the Patriots' offensive line issues. And so the Niners went from a team that calls blitz like 15% of the time to calling blitz like 1/3 of the time. They more than doubled their blitz rate last weekend. So both the Jets and the Niners don't blitz a lot. Against the Patriots, they blitzed a lot. Miami doesn't blitz a lot. You sense a trend? I would not be surprised, especially without Jalen Phillips now. I would not be surprised if Miami takes a page out of the book from the Jets and from the Niners, and they blitz more than they usually do on Sunday. Now, they are 11th in pressure rate, but again, they don't have Phillips. That will hurt their pass rush. So will they try to generate more pass rush with the blitz? I think so. I think Miami will go into Sunday and say, we got Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey's going to shut down whoever you think your best receiver is. He's going to lock down half the field. And we're going to be aggressive up front. And until you prove that you could beat Ramsey deep or you could beat our cornerbacks deep, we're going to be very aggressive up front. We're going to blitz. We're going to try to cause chaos for your offensive line. We're going to try to force you to throw everything short. We're going to try to take out the run game by being very aggressive inside the box. And again, run blitzing and just blitzing in general. I think Miami is going to do what the Jets did and what the Niners did. And I think every team's going to do this until the Patriots prove that they can fix the problems. You are going to see a lot of blitzing. You're going to see a lot of aggressiveness up front. And you're going to see defenses tell the Patriots, if you're going to score points, if you're going to move the ball consistently, you're going to have to beat us by throwing passes 15, 20 yards and beyond. And until you prove that you can do that, you are out of luck. And I expect that to be Miami's game plan on Sunday. Jalen Ramsey's a dude. I mean, he's still great in coverage. He came screaming off the edge on a couple of occasions against the Titans in the run game. I mean, he is a handful. Ramsey's no joke. I talked about early down defense for the Patriots. You also want to look at early down offense for the Patriots. Alex Van Pelt has to dial up the right plays early. They have to dial up the right plays. They have to win on early downs. Van Pelt, Brissett, both of those guys, from a play calling standpoint and Brissett from a playing standpoint, they've got to win on first and second down, which inevitably brings up the question, can the Patriots run the football? If Miami's going to be aggressive up front, can the Patriots offensive line, can they run the football? Miami is 4th in the NFL in stuff percentage. So that would tell you that they've been pretty difficult to run the football against. But I would also say this. Miami had some trouble with Spears from the Titans on Monday night. And Spears reminds me an awful lot of Antonio Gibson. I think Sunday could be an Antonio Gibson game. Number one, I wouldn't be surprised if Stevenson doesn't play as much because of the fumbling issues. But number two, again, Gibson is very similar to Spears. Quick, shifty, yards after the catch, those kinds of running backs. Miami had some issues with Spears on Monday night. And if I'm the Patriots, I'm watching that film, and I'm going to get Antonio Gibson some more touches on Sunday because I think Gibson could find some opportunities there within that Miami front. Because at times, the Miami front did look a little soft in the middle, especially against Spears. So I think Gibson will get more touches on Sunday, or at least he should get more touches on Sunday. Miami, they stacked the box. 8th highest stacked box rate in the league. More than a quarter of the time, they will have extra defenders in that box. Again, it's going to be pretty tough for the Patriots to run. I think they're going to find some opportunities, but I don't think it's going to be one of those games where you look back and you go, wow, they're just gashing Miami. No. I think you'll have some opportunities from time to time, and you have to take advantage of those opportunities, especially with Gibson. But it's going to be very difficult to run the football over and over and over and over and over again and make Miami pay. So, what does New England do if you're dealing with a stacked box? The corners are playing man. Miami's blitzing. How do you beat that? Because they haven't proved that they can. Miami, by the way, the best third down defense in football. So another reason why first, second down is going to be huge. AVP has to be at his best on first and second down on Sunday. And I don't know if AVP has a best, but whatever it is, it's going to show up on Sunday on first and second down. Because if you're looking at third and medium against Miami, it's going to be a long freaking day. Their third down defense is way too good. You cannot be in that spot consistently on Sunday, or you're not moving the football. So what does Alex Van Pelt do? Do we have a different plan with Vidarian Lowe, or are you going to help Vidarian Lowe if he's having issues? Now, without Jalen Phillips, I don't think it's as big of a deal. But what does Van Pelt do? If it's Jacobs at right tackle, does he help Jacobs? Do we see more motion? We talked about the lack of motion on Wednesday during the report card. The Patriots are worse in the NFL with motion at the snap, 8% of the time. It's an absolute joke of a number. So the lack of motion within this offense, especially at the snap, do we see some changes with that on Sunday? Can Van Pelt change? We'll see. Kendrick Bourne coming back should help. I don't know what kind of a pitch count he'll have, but if he is out there and he's playing, he will help. Bourne, along with Pop Douglas, they get quick separation at the line of scrimmage when they're healthy. And if you have Bourne, Poke, and Pop, I actually feel pretty decent about that. It's not I'm not sitting here telling you that it's an incredible wide receiver core, but getting Bourne back should absolutely help if he plays on Sunday. And if you have Bourne out there instead of Osborne, that's an upgrade. Poke, we talked about it. Poke's been getting open. Pop's been getting open. So you got three guys that I think can get open to go along with your tight ends. So Bourne coming back would be fantastic. All right. I got the spread and the prediction coming up in just a minute. Don't forget, though, to like, comment, and subscribe to help out this YouTube channel. Trying to grow the channel. We got to beat that algorithm from YouTube. So like, comment, and subscribe. I also want to let you know we had a new member, Stephanie, join the Patreon last night. $5 a month for the Patreon. Exclusive content. Extra podcast, ad-free podcasts, an audio mailbag. We do some good things over there at Patreon. $5 a month, $1.25 a week. That's where I talk about the Celtics and the Bruins and the Red Sox. $5 a month, $1.25 a week. Patreon.com/Nick Cattles. All right, before the spread and prediction, let's go to my guy, Chris. $10 super chat. Just going to call the $9.99 super chats $10 super chats, okay? What do you think of the Patriots pulling the podcast with Evan's remarks? Yeah, I mean, it's obviously fascinating that Catch 22 disappeared. What's more fascinating is why did it disappear? And the only people that know that are Evan, the people that were on the show with him, right? So Alex Barth, right? So Evan and Alex to go along with the Patriots organization and the people that work at Patriots.com. Those are the only people that know the real story. And there's two options here. One option is that Catch 22 was pulled because somebody with the Patriots or multiple people with the Patriots got pissed and they said, we're not going to have that here. We're going to pull that. And they were not happy with Evan. Or Evan regretted what he said and went back to the Patriots and had them pull it. I don't know which one it is, but I think it stinks no matter what, because you would like the honest assessment of somebody who's been around the team. And if that's how Evan felt, that's how Evan felt. Now, again, Evan himself has come back and said that he regrets what he said and he went a little too far, got a little too far ahead of himself. Is he saying that because he feels that way? Is he saying that because somebody wants him to say that? I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate. I think it's irresponsible to speculate. But I do think it sucks to have the Catch 22 podcast pulled and people not able to go get the video. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the $10, man. All right, let's wrap this up, shall we, with the spread and the prediction. Sunday. Patriots, Dolphins. The Patriots walking in as a -1.5 point favorite. So they're favored by 1.5. The over-under is 36.5. The weather is supposed to be beautiful on Sunday. So those going to the game, enjoy it. Neither offense is playing well. Questionable quarterback play for each team. Miami's defense is better, and they are playing better than the Patriots defense, but Miami also doesn't have Phillips, so how do they react to that? We'll have to see. As I said at the beginning of this podcast, both teams are desperate. Home field to me matters. Home field matters with these two teams both struggling. What the key difference could end up being on Sunday is red zone play. Red zone efficiency offensively and red zone defense. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I know, shocker. So how does each team play in the red zone could be the deciding factor. And when you look at it, both teams suck offensively in the red zone. New England is 30th in red zone offense. But hold up. Miami is 31st in red zone offense. So both of these offenses have stunk when they get to the 20-yard line, 25-yard line. When they start marching inside that 20, it's trouble. It's a troubling situation for both teams. So which offense, when they get to that 20-yard line, which offense can actually finish a drive or finish a couple of drives? On the other side, here's the good news for the Patriots. The Patriots' red zone defense is middle of the league. They're 16th in the NFL in red zone defense. Miami has the second worst red zone defense in football. 31st in the NFL in red zone defense. Opposing offenses have scored 80% of the time when they've gotten to the 20-yard line. That's awful. And so I think the Patriots, with some help by winning the turnover battle, I do think Huntley will turn the football over at least once. Patriots are better special teams. All those things matter with two teams struggling and two teams that don't have necessarily great offenses happening right now. I've got the Patriots winning this game 17-13. 17-13, red zone play. Red zone play, home field, better special teams. The Patriots win the turnover battle. That's why they walk away with a W. I expect this game to be ugly. Am I confident in my prediction? Of course not. Not after the last 2 weeks. Not with the offensive line issues going on, with the injuries. But I've got the Patriots winning 17-13. I think the Dolphins kick field goals. The Patriots get a couple of touchdowns, and that is ultimately the difference in the game. Everybody have a great weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. I appreciate every single one of you for joining me on this Friday. Again, great weekend. Be safe. Be well. I'll be back on Monday, 3 p.m. live right here on YouTube, reacting to Dolphins Patriots. See you then.